my bull breakers! Welcome to part 2 of this particular series. Last week I talked about how the world seems to be really caught up in things that are still going wrong, while I think we forget to be happy about what we've already won. And I'm standing by that still, but the fact does remain that we do still have fights to be fought. And we shouldn't forget that either. I struggled with talking about this because it doesn't personally affect me, and I don't really feel like I have the voice that should be talking about this. But there's an old adage by someone, unfortunately, whose name I can't quite pronounce. It's Pastor Martin Niemöller, maybe, that talks about first they came for the Jews, but I was not a Jew, so I said nothing. And it goes through several of those and ends with, and when they came for me, there was no one left to speak for me. So if anything's going to happen, then everyone needs to speak up. And that means me too. And one of my all-time favorite actors in the world, Dylan Marron, is showing just how little some people do speak up. I follow Marron through Welcome to Night Vale, which I'm certain large portions of the world do. He's a strong support point for the LGBT community already, portraying the ever-perfect scientist Carlos opposite the character's outspoken and probably insane radio host boyfriend, Cecil Palmer, voiced by the wonderful Cecil Baldwin. However, Marron's taking this one step further. He's biracial, Venezuelan-American growing up in New York, and he's seen just how quiet it can be for a person of color in this predominantly whitewashed world. In an interview with the Washington Post, which I will put a link to down in the bottom, he talks about how casting agents would tell him that there, quote, wasn't much work out there, and that he, quote, was never going to play the romantic lead. I'm sorry, have you seen Dylan Marron? Who wouldn't want to be cast opposite him as a romantic lead? I don't care who you like. The problem here is really twofold. We have the one, and really it's the opposite problem, that's come up that I've seen a lot in the trans community lately, where there's been backlash against cisgender people playing transgender individuals. Jared Leto in Dallas Buyers Club, Hilary Swank in Boys Don't Cry, Cillian Murphy in Breakfast on Pluto. And there is an argument to be made there, I'm sure, but the opposite also ends up happening, where gay actors are told that they can't play straight, or vice versa. It's called acting. It's an exercise in being something that you're not. I've played a suitcase in a play. I have never once been a suitcase in my entire life. I have played a Catholic nun. I am not Catholic. I am not a nun. I've played a pony who is a prosecutor. I am not a pony. I am not a lawyer. I have no experience with any of these things. But I think I did a pretty good job of it. So is the issue that these casting agents think that Marron can't hold a romantic lead because he's not a good enough actor? Probably not. They see a queer actor and know they'll have trouble selling it, either in that they don't think he can play it straight well enough, or they don't think they can sell a gay romance. And that's unfortunate, because Carlos and Cecil are the best ever. Next, we have the color issue that Marron himself is tackling. In many cases, movies with predominantly to completely white casts have no scripted reason to be that way. Race wasn't indicated anywhere in the book, it was just assumed somewhere along the line that everyone was white. But why? In another article I'll link down with The Guardian this time, Marron says, quote, when you have people of color as protagonists, the story is about their color. With white people, it's never about their whiteness, end quote. So if it's not about whiteness, why can't a person of color carry the story? As a side note, there was a snafu about race in books back when the first Hunger Games movie came out, where a whole bunch of people were up in arms that Rue was cast as a girl of color, and apparently missed the fact that Rue's a girl of color in the book. So not only do we have a problem with some casting agents, we now have an expectation from the audience that everyone's going to be white. From Her to The Fault in Our Stars, Marron has taken popular movies and stripped them down to only the lines people of color speak. These videos are frighteningly short. In some cases, like Into the Woods, a musical that I love and wanted to see the movie of, it's silent. There are no people of color in the entire movie. Is this surprising to Marron? He says no, just incredibly disappointing. And these are movies that he said he likes. Now, I know I'm probably guilty of this in my own writing as well. It's too easy to fall back into something simple, writing everyone to look like us. I look back at some of my writing and I see way too many white people. And after seeing this, it's something that I'm going to be much more conscious of. As Marron said, he's making these videos as a way to talk about why he's getting the reaction he is. Article after article has been going up about this topic. You search Dylan Marron and the news results are full of every single word. And that's awesome. It's blowing up the presses. It's just too bad that he's got this much material to work with. So, enough words from me. I'm going to let Dylan's videos speak for themselves. I will put a link to the Tumblr where he's put all of his YouTube videos up and whatnot, and you can see what he's doing there. So keep fighting the good fight, Dylan. I think you're awesome. So until next time, I am R. You are all awesome. And I hope you have a good day. Break. I follow Darren. I did it again. God damn it.